Welcome to today's webinar, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and go over some basics of the webinar if you haven't joined us for one before. Since it's 1 o'clock according to my phone, our computer clock is a couple minutes behind here. It says 12:59 there, but we're going to go ahead and start talking. You'll notice that all of your microphones are turned off, and that is because I'm going to be the only one talking for the webinar. If you have questions as we're going, you can go ahead and type those into the questions panel on your webinar toolbar, and I'll answer them as I go if I can, or I'll come back to them at the end of the webinar. Today's webinar is going to be covering the tabs on the the people records for both members and visitors in the people file in version 20.17.3. If you're following along in our workbooks, this is going to be in workbook M101, and it's on pages 30 and 31. Those workbooks are available on our website at www.churchwindows.com. All right, so we're going to go ahead and dive in now. We're going to go into the membership module, and we're going to open people. You can use the big button in the center of the screen here, or the one up here in the top left-hand corner. Both of them are going to do the same thing. And when it opens up, you'll see the people screen here. You've got the family info on the left and the individual info on the right. And I'm going to get out my highlighter here, and we're going to be talking about these tabs on the individual record. We're not going to be talking about the main tab here with all the individual fields. That's covered in another webinar. So if you have questions about that, go ahead and take a look at our website, and you should be able to find a recorded version of that webinar. So let's go ahead and open up the first tab that we're looking at here. It's going to be the Groups and Classes tab. And if one already has a group or class assigned, you'll see that that Groups Classes heading is bold. And that's because our example here, Miss Nina has adult as a group that participates in. And you have columns for starting and end dates. Typically that would just be for kids in Sunday school classes, perhaps board members who only serve for certain date ranges. You also have a role. If someone is a teacher, you can assign them that role, and you can add comments, and then dates and transfer reasons are used less frequently available. If you want to assign a group or class from here, you just click in that above the little bar here. You choose a class. Let's Nina is going to be the school choir teacher, so we'll give her the role of teacher school choir. And if I just continue to click tab on the keyboard until I get to the end, down below with that, and we'll click save. And referring to a field on this tab, I'm going to go ahead and say no to that for the time so we can move forward. Next, we've got the Skills tab, and it's exactly the same form as Groups Classes. You've got click here to role, and if you click there, you'll be able to choose skills and interests from the drop-down here. You can all go to the level and assign someone any of the levels that are currently available, or by pressing plus minus pencil, you can add additional codes for different levels. I'm going to cancel. And next we'll go to the addresses and emails tab. Here it will show you any additional addresses you might have stored for the individual. I'm going to click the forward button and we'll look at a different record here with some more examples. Down here at the bottom, we've got a phones and emails section where it's going to show any of the phones and emails from the family on the left or from the individual tab with all of these fields. And if you want to add addresses, alternate addresses, you press that plus sign, and then you can store additional addresses here for only state ranges or just an additional address. For example, if you have a college student who has an address for part of the year, you could enter that in here and you can store up to 3 alternate addresses. Next we have the comments tab, and this is where you could record anything that you might want to make a note of that isn't covered elsewhere on the record. Finally, we have the Photo tab. This allows you to add individual photographs, not just family photographs. And you can click the Add Picture button and browse pictures on your computer to select the picture for that individual. And if you get rid of the picture, you just clear picture button and away. Now when you're adding pictures, removing them, you'll notice that the Save and Cancel buttons never light up. And that's because that is saving it automatically as soon as you select a picture, clear a picture. Everything else, you would need to press the Save button first. So that is a very quick run through of all of the tabs that we have available on the individual record. It's a pretty cool topic for today. So if anybody has any questions, and type those into the questions panel. We can take a look at some of the other options here. If you want to enter a start date and an end date, you would just type those dates in. When you're entering any dates in Church Windows, you just type the numbers. You don't have to type any of the slashes or anything, but you want to type the complete date. For example, let's choose the confirmation class. And we'll say the confirmation class starts September 1st. And she's going to be the teacher for this class. So it'll go from September 1st to, let's say, June 1st. And again, we just tab our way over. Oh, that should be 2019. And you'll see if there's any issue, we get a little red X, as well as a pop-up to tell us what the issue is. To add additional phones or emails, those would need to be added on the main tab. You've got one option for the family phone on the left, and then any additional phones, if the field doesn't already exist, you would need to go to Customize Fields to add a field. With the alternate addresses for individuals, someone is asking if you can use those for mailing lists and labels. Absolutely you can. If you have an individual address stored for one of the family members, it will print one label for the main address of the family and then a separate label for the individual with their alternate address. The transfer date and the transfer reason on the groups and classes is different than the transfer that may be available as an inactive reason. Victoria is asking about if that's a duplicate. It is not a duplicate. It's something different. For example, if you have children that you're assigning to Sunday school classes, you could put a transfer date for when they move to the next level. Or, you know, that transfer date and transfer reason are referring specifically to that group or class, not the record as a whole, just to the group or class. Since this topic went pretty quick for us, I'm going to open up our website real quick here, and I'll show you where you can find those workbooks if you're interested in those. So on our website, churchwindows.com, you've got Investigating, Beginning, and Supporting up here. If you go to Beginning, you've got Training Workbooks right here. And this shows you the full list of all the available workbooks. And as you scroll, you've got descriptions of what each workbook contains. And you can choose either a downloadable PDF version or a pre-printed version where we mail you all of the printed pages. The recorded webinars are under the supporting menu here. At the very bottom, you've got the free online webinars. That's these webinars that, that you're sitting in on right now. Those are the live ones. But if you want to look at the pre-recorded ones, you go to the Support Center. The page number for today is Membership 101, pages 30 through 31. And those workbooks can be purchased here, again, in the Training Workbooks area. And the prices are listed up here at the top. Each workbook is available for $12 as the downloadable PDF version, or $22 for the pre-printed version. We also have packages available. As you can see here in bold, you can save 20% if you buy the workbook packages as opposed to the individual. right, if there are any other questions, get those typed into that questions panel. The webinar schedule, again, is here on the free online webinars page. And the dates and times that are listed here are the most current dates and times. You can see here's today's topic, our individual records tabs. Thank you all again for attending today's webinar. If you don't have any questions, you can go ahead and sign out. If you do have questions, I will stick around for a little while longer. Any last questions? If you're typing something out now, just hit send with the partial message written and then send the rest so I know that folks still have questions. All right, well, thanks again. I'm going to go ahead and close the webinar. Bye-bye.